Hello and welcome to my video where I hopefully talk about something useful or interesting or even slightly entertaining to you. I can't promise anything though. I'm gonna show off some illustration and sketch speed paints in this video as I talk. For context, this whole video happened because I made a Procreate brush. I'll pin the exact brush in the comments if you'd like to try it yourself. Also up on screen are my initial test sketches with said brush. This brush sparked a whole exploration of style somehow. As a kid, I could never seem to find my art style. I think a lot of young artists face that challenge at one point or another. They just get really frustrated trying to find a unique art style they like. If you never face this, you're probably one of the lucky few. And this frustration followed me all the way up until probably around the end of high school. I sometimes still get that frustration of somehow feeling like I'm not where I should be style-wise. Look, I've never had a consistent style. I have certain ways I like to draw things, of course. I'm really comfortable with the general structure I use for drawing characters. I know I like a more cartoony style with large features. I personally love large noses, ears, and eyebrows. But I have, surprise, surprise, a little setting in my brain called ADHDs. And that really affects my art style moods. I tend to get fixated on certain brush styles and use that for a few months. Then I get bored and need to change it up. Before this brush, I was using a sketch pencil brush for a few months, which you can see in my older videos if you'd like to go watch any of those. I've also in the last few years had to adjust my lines to suit my physical needs. I tend to have a harder time with pen pressure, so I now basically turn it off on all my brushes. And it works really well for me. It's also interesting to incorporate that into my style. Here's the thing. I've watched a lot of videos on how to find your art style, and I think the general consensus is there's steps you can take, but you shouldn't pressure yourself. It's something that comes naturally, which yes, I do agree with this, but I don't think I've ever seen someone come to my conclusion about art style, or about my art style. Someone probably has, I just haven't found that particular video. And it's that my attention span is far too short to retain an entire art style. It's just not happening. There's a reason my persona is an ever-changing creature. It's that I get bored with outfits too easily to always draw myself the same. And if you're trying to get hired at a studio, your art style isn't as important as the studio or the project's art style. I'm starting to understand myself now, and as I get better at managing my brain, I've come to realize to keep myself drawing, I need to be mentally stimulated. In order to finish projects, I need to find ways to enjoy the process, or I'll never finish it. And since I get bored so easily, I need to keep myself in a constant state of change, or try new things like brushes. I find a lot more success in staying focused when I'm changing and learning. And I think that will always be more important than finding your art style, just keeping yourself making art. What keeps you motivated and focused and working? Because if you develop an art style you love, but you don't actually enjoy drawing that way, it's not a sustainable art style. When I'm having trouble drawing, I always ask myself if I'm bored. Because that's what art block usually is for me. It's this boredom that creates a mental block. Learning how your brain works goes a long way in finding success in your art journey. I know I'm acting as if I'm an expert on my own brain. I'm not. Me and her are just work acquaintances. We've only met like 2 years ago, and whenever we talk, it's either about the weather or trauma, nothing else. I'm not even sure what her favorite color or song is at this point. But I'm trying to get to know her better. I'm not good at it, but I'm trying. I've tried to record the ending for this video so many times now, and I just keep messing it up. My closing thoughts on art style. I think it's always something that's gonna be changing. I at least know it is for me. I'm in a constant state of change. I don't see that ever changing. Oh yeah, the only constant in this world is change. I think that's a quote from somewhere. Sounds about right. A quick little comment on the style I'm currently working on. It's definitely a much more bold graphic style. The ink bleed brush is a nice textured brush that I think just works really well for a cartoony style. I'm also using this filter on my lines called chromatic aberration. It basically takes your lines and then adds little shadows of color to them. Is how it looks to me. I don't think that's the technical way it works, but that's how I look at it. Chromatic aberration introduces colors I probably wouldn't otherwise think to add, and I like to take them and then continue to add more to it, so I just get an interesting graphic look. I then just really experiment with shading and more texture, and whatever happens, happens. At no point in these illustrations did I really know what I was doing. I really was just hacking around and finding out. But I think they ended up really, really well. I quite liked them. I mostly drew myself in this, but then I was also drawing Faye at the end. Faye is my Baldur's Gate OC that I made a whole video about, her and her girlfriend. So if you'd like to see that, please go watch it. Feel free in the comments to tell me your philosophy on art style. How do you feel about it? Where are you currently at in your art journey? I would love to know. Also, I'm Luz. Thank you for watching my video. Bye!